Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Coffee Ann on ON AM and FM for another week, beginning on Monday, right here, April 22nd. Thanks for joining us. My name is Joe Callahan.
And my name is Dave Richards.
He's right over there. How are you, Dave?
I'm better than ever, thank you. Yourself?
I'm all right, thanks.
Cool.
All right, and we expect Melissa Murray to be joining us as well. Here
She'll be sliding in from third.
At some point today, but we have to press on with the program. So, once again, we want to thank everyone that joined us on Saturday at the ON Radio 3rd Annual Senior Resource Fair.
Yeah.
Very well attended. Loved having all the vendors
boy, was
there.
I worried about people coming out because of the rain.
It rained pretty heavy on Saturday morning.
I don't think we got quite as much as the first year. Of course, the first year there were so many people that we couldn't handle them all. So yeah, I think the rain did hurt attendance. Well, no, it changed attendance. I don't think it hurt it, though, because we had a nice, steady stream of people, and they could sit and they could talk and have some quality time with the vendors. I thought it was really cool.
Excellent. Now, there's a little clip we want to play for you.
I am very disappointed, however.
In what?
Well, I didn't get any of the pumpkin bread that Kathy Shatra had from Aldersbridge. Because, and I looked
you were
at that.
Too busy.
Well, I was doing interviews and stuff like that, and I said, well, gee whiz, I can't have it right now. I got to wait till later.
And then she was out.
Right, and then it's over. And so I did my work instead of taking care of myself, and I ended up being disappointed. But after it was over, Joe, we had a couple of drawings, and one of them we did on the one that Oak Street Health did. They didn't want it on the radio. But Scott McGee came over, and we did the drawing for his prize, which was dinner for two at Gators Pub, if I recall.
All right.
So we did a quick little minute and a half over at his place, so at his booth. Let's bring that back
now,
here.
were these all the people that got strikes on his little bowling game that he had?
No, nobody got strikes.
I know, that was tough.
The one he said that got the closest was John Ward.
With 9, right?
Who played it, and he got 9 pins.
I tried it. I got 7. I'll be honest.
Which is pretty good. But let's play this now.
All right.
Because this is a recording that we made right after right at noontime, right after the senior fair had ended, and Scott had a drawing for a dinner for two at Gators Pub. So we'll listen in, and you'll hear some of the sounds from our senior fair. All right, everybody, Dave Richards here, and our senior fair is ending. It's time now to draw for the Gators Pub. Dinner for two at Gators Pub. Scott McGee from the Stearns Remax team. Stearns McGee Remax team. I'm sorry about that, Scott.
Perfect.
All right.
No problem.
And he's been here. They've been playing bowling. He's been taking entries. And the fabulous Denise is reaching in, pulling out, what ticket do you have? It looks like Marcel, and there's a telephone number I won't give out on the radio. Marcel, it's an 837 number, too, as a matter of fact. So, Marcel, if that's you, then your dinner for two. Scott, suppose we keep this at the radio station. They can pick it up at the station during regular business hours.
That sounds perfect.
All right,
Can't wait to see them. Can't wait to see them at Gators Pub.
Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. Come by and see the fabulous Denise. She's got your ticket. And if you show us that you're that person over there, we'll give you the dinner for two at Gators Pub in North Smithfield in Slatersville, actually, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Same
Beautiful.
thing. That's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Did anybody win in the bowling?
Quite a few. No one got a strike, though.
Oh.
John Ward was down to 1 pin, but two people got down to 1 pin. That was it.
Oh, dear me. Well, it was lots of fun. Thanks for being here. And, of course, we'll be listening, of course, on Coffee Ann, because on Thursdays we have Scott on, and on Fridays we hear from Gators Pub.
Great. Sounds good. I love that.
It's great. We'll see you.
There's Dave and Scott McGee at the Senior Resource Fair, the drawing of the gift card for Gators Pub, won by a man named Marcel. Perfect.
Right.
All right, Melissa Murray's
Denise
joined
is
us.
going to call him if we don't hear from him. Denise is going to call
Melissa
him.
Murray's here. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
Now, the other big event that took place on Saturday was the Clue Murder Mystery at the...
Sorry to hear about your brother.
At the museum. Yeah, Dr. Pepper. How clever is that? But I saw the pictures on there of everybody all dressed up. You
Yeah.
looked fabulous. by
Thank
the way.
you.
In the faux fur and the pearls.
Bad this
The,
morning
cl-
either, Joe. Careful
the
now.
cloche hat.
Yeah, the
you know,
hat. That's right. All the Roaring Twenties stuff. You
I
must
knew
have
everybody-
fun putting that together.
It was a lot of fun. It was a little toasty in there with the fur
Oh, with
and
the
the
fur
hat,
on, yeah.
and I had opera length gloves on. So, but I had to stay in character.
Oprah gloves?
Yeah.
Opera.
Sorry.
And
Full
the rest
length.
Of, and the
Yep.
rest
Everybody
of the
else
group,
was yep.
Adam and Garrett and Steve and
Yeah,
and Margot and Sonia.
Yeah.
I was
so I
so
did a lot.
disappointed.
All
I had
looked
another
great.
meeting that night, and I had already promised to be somewhere else. Oh, well.
It was a lot of fun. We probably had. I think we sold over 80 tickets. We sold close to 90 tickets.
That's a lot of people.
So it was very successful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Very
and
happy
everybody
about
had like
that.
the little flapper and the headband, and
Yeah.
I was supposed to be a whiskey baroness.
right.
So I was like, I wouldn't be dressing like that,
Mm-hmm.
So I had the dress with the fringe and everything, but I had one of those little 20s hats with the little flower. So I felt like that was more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Also, I had so much makeup on. I did like the 20s style makeup, which is like, put black everywhere with blue eyeshadow on. I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
usually do that. It took me like 3 tries yesterday to get my makeup off. I was like, oh no, this isn't coming off. It's all black. It look like I had
Okay. So
raccoon eye.
so the 6 of you were the suspects. Who ended up doing it?
Miss Scarlet,
Okay.
yeah, which
And
was Margot.
And what was the reasoning?
What was the method?
Oh,
Miss Scarlet killed Dr. Pepper in the boxcar with the lead pipe.
All right.
Oh.
And her
I was hoping
motive?
to be a Coke bottle.
That's not one of the weapons.
The motive was she did it for the money.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, he's
He was-
wealthy,
he was
and she was
wealthy.
he was one of her many former lovers.
Okay.
Yes, she was
So she was
promiscuous,
she was
yes.
jealous. Okay.
Well, yeah, it was basically monetary. It
Okay.
was motivated,
So
yeah.
you as Mrs. White, what would have been your motive to kill your brother?
Well, I kind of made up my own, and I
right.
inserted it. Like we had 2 clues that we could give to each
Person that asked?
participant, right?
Okay.
And so one of my clues was, well, I saw the wrench after the murder; it didn't have blood on it. And that I was in the parlor. I kept saying parlor because, but it had living room on the card. But I kept saying parlor, and people were like, "There's no parlor on here." I'm like, I mean living room. It's a one socket thing. So I kept saying,
Well, in the Museum of Working Culture, there is a parlor.
yes, that's what
Yes.
they meant, right? It's
I don't
but
think they call it the living room. They call it.
I think they called it the parlor,
Yeah,
because
right.
a lot of people had like double parlors, right? You
It's
guys
on the
know about
second
that.
floor.
Yeah, and it's great.
So
Like-
what was the other clue you gave about the living room?
Oh, that I was in the living room at the time of the murder.
Oh, okay. So you
That I
couldn't
had a
kill
few
them.
too many whiskeys, and I retired to the living room, and I was in the living room at the time of the murder.
Skimming off the profits for that many
That could have been a
whiskeys.
lie, though.
Right. Well, right. So they knew that we had 2 clues, but then I would say, I added, well, I mean, yes, he was my brother, and of course there was an estate, but I have my own money. I don't need that money. So I would say it in that way, where people are like, oh, maybe she killed him for the money because he's.
And they really don't like
Yeah.
my brother, so.
He told mom and dad about the
mean-
kitten, so I never forgiven him for that. He told mom and dad about the kitten that I found.
Do you know or do you remember? Did anyone win?
Yes.
There was a $50 gift card to
There
River
was a
Falls.
oh goodness, who won? I can't recall.
Okay, so someone did many people get it right, or did just one person get it right?
Yeah, was
Well,
there a drawing?
There was a drawing.
Okay.
So instead of taking out, I'm going to rag on Garrett for a minute. There's like 80 participants, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a big basket of people who submitted who they thought did it and where and how.
What? Okay.
And so he took out one. He said, "Oh, this person thought it was in this room, and that's wrong. This person thought it was this." So Sonia
Did it
came
go
up
through
and was
80?
I was like, "Why didn't you take out just the ones that were right and draw from those?"
That's right.
But he did get one on the 3rd try, so
Oh,
he didn't have to
phew.
read all 80.
This would be here all night. All right. Well, great. I'm glad it was a good time. And you
It
had
was a great
and
time. It
everyone
was a
have
great
good
time.
Did-
Yep.
I think you mentioned on Friday when Steve Laramie really gets into this kind of thing.
He does.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he was
cool.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, and I saw Adam in his purple outfit. So
Of course, which he already
Professor
owned.
Plum.
He already.
So he has to play Professor Plum every year.
I mean, I guess it was an excuse to wear the purple suit again.
and the women all get into
Yep.
into their characters as well. So
Yep, Miss Peacock, Miss Scarlet. I was Mrs. White, which in the movie is the maid, and I didn't. Garrett made up a better story for me that Mrs. White
I like
was
Whiskey Baroness.
that I was a restaurateur and whiskey baroness.
Okay.
Because I don't think I wanted pictures of me in a maid costume being out there. It's just like not really,
Not you.
not.
Right.
This was better.
mean,
So
After the fundraiser is over, there's still re-election to be considered. I get it.
and
There's
everybody's
regular
taking
life.
pictures on the internet, right? So
Making the rounds down there at the State House. Yeah, this is good. Well, I'm glad it went well. I'm glad
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
very
great. It was
successful. For the
fantastic.
Downtown Woonsocket Collaborative. That's fantastic.
it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll do it again next year with a whole different twist.
I don't think it could have got.
great.
I don't think it could have done better than to have River Falls help you out there,
Oh, it was
just
yeah.
across the way, and
Yeah.
always great food there too.
Yep,
And
the f-
Ciro's with the
and Ciro's
with
had the bar,
Right, sure.
and
They've
everything
kind of like
was
got
great.
that franchise in Woonsocket. Everybody calls for Ciro's when they got to have a bar.
Yeah, I mean, right? They know how to do it
Yeah,
up.
they do.
bring very
they got the
efficient
portable
at it.
thing down.
Yep, and they bring the right amount of product with them.
Yep.
So good.
Yep.
All right, glad it went well. Glad everyone had a lot of laughs going on throughout the
Yep.
event.
Yep, lots.
Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Dave's got the very important story this morning. We had this morning that Providence is at the top once again. Best marijuana enthusiasts are in Providence.
Oh goodness.
See what the legislature has done. Oh my God!
I'm pretty-
Mortified.
I don't know if it's up to the legislature,
I
Dave.
just-
Well, I'm
well,
pretty
they-
sure they were probably marijuana enthusiasts before it was legalized. Just
Yes,
a guess.
yes, but
just a guess.
Yes, just right. Just ask Gary Lewis, though, that Rhode Island was not hospitable to that sort of behavior until the legislature made some changes.
I think it's
I'm
amusing.
waiting. I'm waiting. Later, it's going to happen today. My friends from Minnesota, from
Gonna
Florida, stuff like that, all going to
Hey,
give me
you're
a
in the
buzz
news
and say,
again.
"Hey, you got room up there? We're coming to see you."
Well, the rankings were done by.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
either
so
Leafly or it's
no, Leafly.
Leafly. which I'm sure it's-
Leafly.
Okay.
It's-
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure it's
It's
a
a new
magazine.
internet, new age internet.
yeah,
company.
yeah.
And a real estate company, Real Estate Witch, like
That's
flying on
right.
the broom.
All the good names are taken, so they have to
Real
come up
estate
with a
witch.
dopey name.
So they did the rankings by reviewing legalization, the number of dispensaries, our prices, and Google Trends, whatever that means. So, and we're ahead
and
of
the
Boston
fact that
and
you don't
Hartford.
get arrested for it. Yeah.
But it was legal in Massachusetts first. You would think Boston would be ahead of us.
No
Well, maybe
way.
more people are
No.
Googling Rhode Island because it's a newer thing. What
Maybe.
does that mean, Google Trends?
I don't know.
I don't
know.
either.
10th
Right.
best in the U.S.
Which means they didn't come to Rhode
If
Island.
they found it on the internet, it must be true.
That's right. They found the whole thing in Google Analytics,
That's
which has
right.
got to be true. It's the truth, man. Oh, my goodness me.
All right, we're going to take our first break here on the Coffee and program. If you would like, call in your comments and questions, 766-1240. We got one to get to when we come back.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
It is Coffee Ann here
That's
on ON
us.
AM, AM, and FM. That's right. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and Dave Richards. We have a note to get to, 766-1240. I think this, I read it over. It looks like it's got something to do with the budget that was passed over the weekend by the feds, all the money that's going to go to the Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
We have suddenly billions of dollars because people are not going to the doctor because it's super expensive, rent is ridiculous, and inflation has come out to be just corporate greed. It's like, man, we got money for wars, but not for the poors. I just don't think that American lives have to police everybody.
Money for
Okay.
wars, but not for the poors.
Poors,
I
yeah.
I like it.
You like that saying?
Yeah.
So we're giving money to Ukraine and Israel like crazy. 98 billion? Was that the amount?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a picture on the front page of today's Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times. There's Seth Magaziner. He's got about 20 Ukrainian flags in his hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
That he was handing out during the vote.
So people are like, well, yeah, but what about here? And well,
Yeah, I know.
No,
It's the
this whole thing with Ukraine is, gosh, the things that I hear. I don't even want to repeat some of them. They're equating Ukraine with Vietnam again. Because it's going to be another unwinnable war of attrition where you're going to get in, then you're just finally going to get sick of it, and you're going to walk away and get a bad black eye. That you should have done more in the beginning. We
beginning
should have
was 2
elected
years ago.
Trump. It never would have happened. All the stuff that you hear. And, of course, Israel as well. The country has not been as divided about Israel and its very existence in my lifetime. Seriously speaking, folks, we've got really big problems there. And yes, it's a whole lot better than sending our troops over to fight in these wars. But it isn't much. It isn't much better. I mean, it's better because they're not in harm's way, but it isn't much better because this is. I could just picture the folks over in China, clapping their hands and smiling with glee. Oh boy, great! Just keep spending, U.S. Keep spending. We'll have you in a few minutes. It'll be a bloodless coup. We'll just take you over because you're in such debt. And there's so many things that you hear these days. It's a very troubled time. And do you turn your back on your friends? No, you don't turn your back on your friends. But the first thing you do is you take care of yourself, and then you assist your friends. I heard it 4 more times just last week.
on the airplane, right?
Right.
Put the
Right.
mask on first.
Put the mask on. Put the mask
Put
on
yours on
yourself first, and make sure
Before
that you're
helping
capable
others.
of rendering assistance.
I say that to people all the time. However, I think this is not really a whataboutism, and folks do this a lot.
What's a whataboutism? I don't follow you.
Like, well, hey, I'm working on this bill. Well, what about this? You can do. I think we can address corporate greed, with legislation, but
Oh no, you can't. It's whack-a-mole.
we won't. Right?
All you're going to do is
we
hurt
can,
people and put people out of work.
We can lower the costs of prescription drugs. This is something I'm very passionate about, making healthcare affordable. But do we do that at the and it doesn't have to be either or. If we don't, Putin's not going to stop at the Ukraine, right? If people think that, they're nuts, right? He'll take Ukraine, and then it'll be
something else.
Poland, and then this guy is
Bad news.
a wackadoodle, right? I mean, and he just is going to have a never-ending hunger for conquering. We've seen this before. So I think it's important to help the Ukraine. I do. But we also have to help ourselves here at home. And it's about dismantling systems. And it's not easy. But I think we can and should do both. But that takes political will. And that's not always there.
That's always going to be in short
Yeah.
supply
Yeah.
in the long haul, because
Yeah.
when you give people no time to think about something, an emergency is declared, and then people rise to the occasion. But after a while, in the long haul, they start thinking about things that they should be thinking about. You're no good to anybody if you hurt yourself. You should render aid to the extent that you can to your family, to your friends, to people who need it, to strangers who need it. But you must be able to do so without causing injury to yourself. And after the pandemic, the United States was not in the best financial position to do what we wanted to do. And so we have to moderate what we want to do against what's wise to do to keep ourselves healthy so that we can continue to help our friends and relatives. Because if we hurt ourselves, what good are we to anyone?
Right. And how are we one of the only so-called developed nations in the world, and our maternal health outcomes are terrible, and our infant mortality is terrible compared to all these other countries? Like, we need to be physically healthy. We need to help people to be whole and healthy to have a strong nation. That's how I feel about it.
Well, that's simply because they priced healthcare out, and that was your original point.
Yeah, right.
They
Exactly.
priced-
Exactly.
They priced healthcare out of the reach of a lot of people.
And it's wild. It's wild that in 2024 in the United States, so many people can't afford basic preventative
Right.
health care.
And
It's wild.
I know that I have dear friends in the industry, which I have been in since I was 16. I have dear friends who are going to say, "Shut up, Dave." But I would love to see all the pharmaceutical money go away on TV
Yes.
because it's costing money that we are all paying for.
Yep. Yes, we
You know,
are.
every time you
I
buy
agree
a
with
Coke,
you
you're
on
paying for a commercial.
I
Okay,
agree with you
fine.
1,000%.
Now let's bring that over to the drugs thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're concerned about corporate greed versus altruism and trying to benefit mankind, or, you know what I mean, mankind in the generic sense.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to do that, and you've also got to raise several millions of dollars for advertising at the same time, yikes on a stick.
Right.
Those two things don't work.
But I like the Zeisel owl.
Yeah, right.
Oh, gosh.
And they come out and
How
sing,
cute.
Ozempic.
Yeah,
Oh,
very cute. They can.
And
make
what do
up
they
a-
have to pay the group Magic for rights to that?
Oh, man, how great, how easy it is for them that are just
Yeah.
cashing the checks like crazy.
Exactly. And all that money comes from everybody who has to use the drug, who has
Yes.
had it prescribed, or them and their insurance carrier
Yeah.
with copays and insurance coverage. And the insurance people have to come up with the money from somewhere. And that comes from your premiums. Listen, you know, anybody who thinks something is free, all that money that you got during the pandemic, wow, this is great. All that money that the city council is working feverishly to dispose of, that was assigned to the city of Woonsocket, it came from taxpayers. It continues to come from taxpayers. You're just money laundering. It's coming out of your own pocket, but you don't write the check for it yourself, so you don't see it.
They're just not printing it over and over in Washington. Print
Well,
more money.
Gosh, I
Yeah.
hope not, because if they do, it's all over for
Oh, I
us.
know. Inflation will go crazy.
Ask your doctor about. No, don't. No.
My personal opinion is inflation.
How else are you going to make the money?
My personal opinion is inflation is already out of control and crazy, and they're
Yeah.
just underreporting it. They're lying
yeah.
about it until after
They don't
the
want-
election. Then the crises will come.
Will real come. All right. Other news. I don't know if Melissa heard any more news, but there was the heavy police presence at TF Green Airport on Friday night, but they're not saying why.
I don't know why.
They were
I
just-
don't have any.
Everything was quiet on Wednesday night when I came in.
Yep. So they were at the airport and the
Yep.
surrounding areas. Rhode Island State Police say that it had to do with some kind of domestic disturbance, but they won't say where it took place. But there were no arrests and no flights were delayed or
Right.
canceled because of this. But they were just hanging out at
Saturday
Green
at
Airport.
1.
It's like,
Well, it all happened on the other side of TSA. It's not in a secured area, so there's no reason why you should delay a flight.
yeah, right. So, but maybe the
By the way,
domestic
when I
disturbance
came in
had to
on
do
Wednesday
with
night,
getting
we
on
went
a flight.
upstairs.
Yeah.
No lines at TSA. No TSA agents. No flights going out.
Well,
Yeah.
not at midnight.
We,
no.
we came in on one of the last arrivals.
I bet.
They go home.
Yeah.
I forget what time they shut down.
But the
Probably-
shuttle buses were all
Yeah.
steaming right along.
TSA
You get out
does-
to Lot
I know,
E to get your car.
I know TSA opens at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I just don't know what time they close. It must be 10. When's the last flight leave Green
Well,
Airport?
it'd be after the last departure.
right.
is-
So
yeah,
9 or 10 at night.
could be.
guess it all
I
depends on the
don't-
airline.
I don't think that. See, I understand, and Melissa might know more about this than I do, but having friends who grew up near the airport and hearing conversations about how things have evolved in the neighborhood, it seems to me that there are agreements. I was going to say contracts. I think it's more like agreements with neighborhood groups from neighborhoods now surrounding what used to be the Hillsgrove neighborhood in Warwick, and that there are certain times of the night that they will not fly out of Green. They can take one in because planes who are coming in for landing are a lot quieter than planes that are taking off under power. And so, and of course, they're near the water, so they really have to change runways a lot. I know when we came in from the west, we came in, actually approached Green from the north, which isn't really very often that you do that. Mostly we come in from the south. They fly to Block Island, hang a left, fly up Narragansett Bay on glide slope, and they're in to the airport. But we came in over Hartford and over Pascoag, and then took a left at Lincoln and came that way over it. And it's funny, as I was coming down, we came out of the clouds. It was raining that night. And we came out of the clouds, and I have the window seat, so I look down, and I see this big, huge, long, remember, this is from 4,000, 5,000 feet. Big, huge, long line of red lights. Right next to it, a big, huge, long line of white lights. And I said to myself, ooh, I must remember not to take 95 back home, until I saw this smokestacks at the power company. They have the red lights on them.
Yep.
And that gave me the north-south orientation.
Yes.
And this is east-west. And I
Yeah.
said, oh, no, that's 195.
Yep.
And I look at my
Yep.
watch, and it's 10 minutes after midnight. And I said,
It's still
10
back
minutes
up.
after midnight, and they're backed up a quarter mile in both directions on 195. I says, yikes.
Yeah.
Well, they've opened up the third lane now.
On Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And now they're going to
Well, late Friday night,
they're going to
yeah.
scrape down the pavement so they can repave.
Yeah, so everybody over into 2 lanes.
Well, the lanes are 10 feet now, so
But if we're scraping
there's
down the
there's
pavement-
one 11-foot lane for trucks.
Is there?
Yeah. There's one 11-foot lane.
Yeah. So
They had a leftover foot somewhere.
Hey, am I reading? Dave, you read all the Rhode Island DOT press releases. Am I hearing that the on ramp from Route 295 south to 146 north is going to be closed?
Till fall.
No. 295 south to 146 north, because I took it this morning.
Right?
That's going to close.
They're all going to close
Okay.
at one time or another.
Oh, great.
The ones that are closed now, I misunderstood.
Well, the
the ones
one-
that are closed, that just closed a
Yeah,
few weeks ago,
That's 295
yeah,
north.
they're going to open up in the fall.
Okay. But what is the one on 295?
It's like down near Breakneck Hill Road.
Yeah.
They closed the access there.
Yeah.
It's still closed.
I know it's still closed, yeah.
Months.
Right. But I'm just wondering, what's the start date? Do you have a date? Do you remember of when the on-ramp
No.
from 295 south to 146 north? Because it's going to alter my route
As
to
an
get
endeavor.
here immensely.
You're going to have to get off at Cumberland Kitchen and Design Center and come into the back roads.
Nope, I'll just go completely the opposite way, 495, and get off in Rentham.
It's easier to go through Rentham than it is to Cumberland
Uh-huh.
at that hour.
Yep.
because school and
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll avoid all
But he
those.
comes in
those-
before school.
Yeah, but I'll avoid it because I've done it before to check out the timing.
Yeah.
And it's about 5 minutes longer
Yeah.
on the 495, and then get in on the other side of the city to get.
Yeah.
Well,
over
right, because
here.
you have
Have
a
to
lot
get
of
to bed
lights
5
and
minutes
stuff like
earlier,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. All right, we're gonna take a break here on the Coffee and program, and more is coming your way. We're gonna take a look at the weather forecast being brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Sunshine today with a high of 57 and a breeze in the northwest. Tonight, areas of frost after 2 a.m., otherwise clear. Overnight low of 31, calm wind. Tuesday's weather, it'll be breezy, sunny, and 63. Wednesday, A 60% chance of rain is likely, showers and thunderstorms possible afternoon time. Some of the storms could produce some gusty winds. Mostly cloudy skies Wednesday with a high of 59. Thursday, sunshine and 55. Friday, sunshine and 60. Saturday, mostly sunny and 62. And on Sunday, mostly cloudy skies, 65 and a chance of rain.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies. We have 47 degrees.
Up from our overnight low of 34. Joe, your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. You're on the go? Use the mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
The North Smithfield Emergency Management Agency has been awarded a grant to sponsor a 9-week community emergency response team training class, CERT, for area residents of Woonsocket, North Smithfield, Smithfield, Lincoln, Cumberland, and Burville. The CERT class includes training on the psychology of disaster trauma, light search and rescue, emergency preparedness, fire safety, and basic first aid. The class will be offered free of charge and will be held on Tuesday nights from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. starting April 23rd through June 18th at the North Smithfield Emergency Management Office at 83 Green Street, North Smithfield. For further information, www.nsema.org. Remember, disaster preparedness should not be an afterthought, now more than ever.
When it comes to emergency service for plumbing and heating, you can't beat C.J. Nemus, 37 Corey Street in Woonsocket. C.J. Nemus offers over 15 years of experience and is licensed in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. C.J. Nemus offers complete heating system service, plumbing, water heaters, plus drain and sewer cleaning. Remember that senior citizens receive a 10% discount. So give Charlie a call today at C.J. Nemus, 769-4776. They're registered with the Better Business Bureau. They're a master plumber with quality service. It's the only way and the best way. With C.J. Nemus, call today, 769-4776 for C.J. Nemus.
Hi, I'm Greg Bell, the host of When Radio Was.
I'm Mortimer. Bill. Is that you under that blindfold? Bill, with this thing on, I can't see who I am. No, I imagine not. Can't you see anything at all under that blindfold? On a clear day, I can see the blindfold. You can? Yeah.
When Radio Was, shows from the past for today's imaginations.
When Radio Was airs Monday through Friday, right here on ON 1240 Radio at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m.
It's Coffee In here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray. And Dave picks the perfect time to get up and leave, just as the commercials are ending. Anyway, so we had a high-speed chase.
Yes.
How about that? Started in Rhode Island. I'm not sure where, but it went up 95. And Rhode Island State Police backed off and gave it over to the Mass Police. Go get this guy. And he was found. He made it all the way to Newton, Mass, where he was found, well, they say unconscious. Maybe he was just sleeping in his car. His name is...
After all that adrenaline?
Yeah. The Boston... Where is it? Here it is. He's 22. Emmanuel Salomon. Salmoron. Okay. Found him identified in a parking at the Riverside MBTA station parking lot. They called the Newton police because they said there's a man unconscious in the car, or sleeping in the car, and when they woke him up, he was Salomon, and then he tried to flee on the rail tracks. That's make a run for it, yeah. But he was quickly captured. So he faces assault, resisting arrest, and motor vehicle violations.
So prolonged high-speed chase, and then snooze.
Yes. So yeah. I'm thinking
something.
I'm thinking drugs might be involved somehow. Now I guess it's his car. They didn't say it was a stolen car. He was driving a Mercedes. Nice car.
Okay.
If you can get it at 22. That's why I was wondering was it stolen because he's 22 and driving a Mercedes.
I remember the Mercedes I had when I was 22.
Yes, yeah, wasn't it nice?
Yeah.
And what are you driving now?
I downgraded. No. I wanted to simplify my life.
I want to add more carbon emissions to the air
Let's not talk about that
Here
now,
on-
Joe.
here on Earth Day. And a sad story out of Cranston. There was a standoff down in Cranston that left one person dead. Police were called to a home on Pontiac Avenue Saturday around 1 p.m. There was a report of an armed man, so the police all show up, and so they set up the perimeter. They try to make contact with the individual. He wasn't responding, and then so they go in and they found him in a second-floor apartment. He said he died of a self-inflicted gunshot.
Took his own
wound,
life.
and his name not yet has been released. So that's what happened down in Cranston over the weekend. As we look north, we're gonna get we're gonna put the gag order on Dave for right now, because I want Melissa on this first. Congresswoman from Massachusetts, Lori Trahan, she wants professional sports leagues to pay men and women athletes equally. All right. She posted on her social media that the leagues need to dismantle the gender pay gap. She noted that starting salary for college basketball superstar Caitlin Clark in her rookie WNBA season will be about $76,000.
That's it.
The rookie salary for men in the NBA is $1.1 million.
Wow.
So, and the issue is the WNBA does not raise as much money, and they don't have the TV money that the NBA has.
So does her proposal
paying them-
include decreasing salary to get gender parity? Because I'm pretty sure that's not going to go over very well.
Just dismantle the gender pay gap. I don't know. But
Yeah, that would-
scrap the whole thing and start over.
That's what I'm assuming.
But if you're
Idealistic,
but if
but
you're
not.
in the NBA, what about my contract that says I get paid
Right.
$2 million a
Right,
year
right,
for the
right,
next 5 years?
right. It's a good talking point, but it's not
Well, as I said,
realistic.
as I said to Dave, I said, well, why doesn't Lori Trahan go to the WNBA and get a Boston franchise? Because there isn't one. There's one in Connecticut. But get a Boston franchise of your own. We'll call them the Boston Trailblazers or whatever. And you pay your players whatever you want to pay them. And if you want to pay them $5 million a year, go ahead. And see where you get the money from.
Yeah, I don't see her dismantling that.
Yeah.
That's about as easy as dismantling the healthcare system and starting over, right?
Right.
I mean, here we are. We just have to.
I noticed, Lori Trahan comes out because Caitlin Clark is the big name in basketball right now. But they just started a women's professional hockey league. Boston's got a franchise. You don't see her, jumping up and down about, and I have no idea what they get paid versus what the men get paid in the NHL. But you don't see them say, hey, they should be paid the same.
Well, no, because the focus is on basketball
right now?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Okay.
it's trending.
It's the
And this
hot
is
topic.
amazing. You're right, amazing young woman, but and she comparatively deserves more than $76,000 a
I think
year.
it's starting at 76. I think it's going up
Okay.
every year after that. And I think she got a 5-year deal. But, I'm
But
not positive on that.
comparatively,
Well, yeah, if you compare it to the men, it's a lot less money.
a lot less, yeah.
But how much money does the WNBA bring in?
Well, right. Where's it going to come from?
Yeah, I don't know. So, okay, Dave, I can take the gag off you now if you want to say anything else. Did we cover everything you wanted to say, or did we miss something?
No.
I didn't cover everything. Oh, too bad.
No. It's another one of those things. They let the genie out of the bottle. They made a lot of mistakes back in the 70s and 80s that we're living with now, and now it's an impossible situation to try to straighten things out. I remember so very, very clearly, because I was part of that whole thing years ago when I was much younger with the Boston Marathon, which just happened a week ago today. I remember when the young lady decided she was going to run the Boston Marathon.
It was a big to-do
and,
back then.
and she registered, she got a number, she showed up, and she was running. And
There's a picture of that guy trying to tackle her.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He was an official.
Yeah, that's right.
With the Boston Marathon, a BAA, and they handled it wrong. First of all, if there were females who were interested in running, They just sort of been allowed to run. One marathon. There are 3 stinking marathons, friends. Actually, there's 4 if you want to be cynical and say there's one for the Kenyans and one for everybody else. But that's just a joke. The fact is that there are 3 official Boston marathons. There is the wheelchair, there is the female, and then there is the male. Once you started differentiating, having an entirely new one for the females, now you've got a problem. Because you've got a problem that puts a Band-Aid on a problem you've got today and puts a cork in a soda pop bottle and starts shaking it. Because eventually it's just going to erupt. And what you're talking about with this female basketball player, this is where it's erupting. Because now they see how stupid it was to handle it that way back then. Having separate races. It was wrong in the 1970s. We knew it was wrong, but it was expedient. And now we're paying the price for it. It should be that you do not differentiate between the genders on achievement. It is an honor to the female if they compete in the team, even if the team is majority male and your opponents are majority male, and it is an honor to that female if they toe the mark and they win a spot on the team because of their abilities. Now you have decided that a human being is going to do something based on ability, not based on gender. And if we had done that before, then it would have been, but no. And I have to say one more thing before I belabor this point anymore, and that is I think that the Interscholastic League is doing a fine job with righting that wrong by allowing female students to participate on varsity teams with the male students and show what they're made of and do and rise to the best level that they can rise to. Because there's a whole lot of males out there that don't have what it takes to make the team. And if a female can make the team based on their ability, God bless them.
Right. But there's a difference, Dave, between the...
There's always a difference, Joe, because I never played the sport, right?
No.
This is his card. He brings it up.
No.
Oh, you never played the sport, Dave. You don't know.
True. No, there's a difference between the team and an individual. Boston Marathon, that's an individual event.
Right.
And you can't put the men and the women together.
Why can't you?
The women will never win. Sorry, Melissa.
They will...
But the men come in at 2 hours and 2 minutes.
They will compete
the women,
to the best of
but
their ability.
They will never be number one.
They
will never
the
be-
American men will never
they will
meet.
never be
will
number
never
one.
win as long as there's a Kenyan in it. Who cares?
That's right.
You will do
Because
the best you can.
Because the women always come in at like 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is a fantastic time.
I know, and
It
the
is
men are now
amazing.
at
And the
like
men-
206 and 210.
That's right.
Yes.
But the women will never do that
because they have a
men and women
smaller
are
frame
different.
and they can't run as fast.
That's right.
I get it.
So that's why
but
we have
there
the men's
are
winner.
females that don't have a smaller frame and can run that fast.
No, there are not. No,
Sure.
No, they're not. So that's why you have to have a men's winner and you have to have a women's winner. And when
You don't know
come
some
down
of the
to-
females I
when
know.
you come down, when you come down into smaller races, they even break it down even more by age.
Yeah.
Who's over 65 that came in first?
Yeah.
Who's between 10 and 18
and
that
that
came
is
in first?
approaching participation trophies.
Well, it's not breaking it down that much.
You should be able to
Actually, I think-
participate, period.
I think you actually get a participation trophy if you finish the Boston Marathon.
Oh, good.
Maybe not a trophy,
Yeah,
but a little medal.
I
you
walked
finished.
across the
I
Pell Bridge
walked
and I
it.
got a
There
trophy.
you go.
I got
There
a
you
medal. I got a medal.
Your
There you go.
participation trophy was always your aching muscles for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Crippling aches in your muscles.
But yeah, but team sports and
Yeah.
individual sports are
Yeah.
just different.
Argue it all you want, but today
Good, 'cause
you're
I'm right.
reaping the reward. Oh yes, it's fine.
Oh, dear.
Today you're reaping the rewards of someone being right back in the 70s.
All right, break time once again here on
Thank
ON
goodness.
Radio. Please write in and tell Dave how wrong he is. Okay, more Coffee Hands coming up. Stay tuned.
The North Smithfield Emergency Management Agency has been awarded a grant to sponsor a 9-week Community Emergency Response Team training class, CERT, for area residents of Woonsocket, North Smithfield, Smithfield, Lincoln, Cumberland, and Burville. The CERT class includes training on the psychology of disaster trauma, light search and rescue, emergency preparedness, fire safety, and basic first aid. The class will be be offered free of charge and will be held on Tuesday nights from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. starting April 23rd through June 18th at the North Smithfield Emergency Management Office at 83 Green Street, North Smithfield. For further information, www.nsema.org. Remember, disaster preparedness should not be an afterthought, now more than ever.
Hello, my name is Paul LaValle. I'm a Knight of Columbus with the Council 113 in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. We are sponsoring a scholarship fund for the Greater Woonsocket Catholic Regional School System. There are only 100 tickets being sold. They are $50 each. The first prize is $1,500. The second prize is $500. The third prize is $300. You can purchase them from any Knight of Columbus, including myself. My phone number is 401-651-5533. Plus at WOON, Woonsocket Radio Station, 985 Park Avenue. Or the administrative office at 1200 Menden Road, Good Shepherd School. Thank you.
It's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray. Dave Richards as well. So up in Massachusetts, I don't know if I agree with this thing that they want to do. The state legislature, don't take this up, by the way, down in Providence, okay, Melissa? The state legislature is being urged to act on a bill. They want to raise the age of juvenile offenders in Massachusetts from 17 to 20.
20.
I think that's going in the wrong direction.
Yes. This is going toward participation trophies again.
An NPR station in Boston reported advocates say the intent of the Raise the Age bill is to allow juveniles to avoid the adult criminal justice system until the age of 21. Supporters said it puts the emphasis on rehabilitation rather than prison time. And that sounds great on paper.
Until you got 14-year-olds walking around with
Murdering
automatic
people.
guns. Yeah, right. And being hired by 18-year-olds
to go do their damage.
To go and do it, right. And the 21-year-olds now have to hire all the teenagers to do all the crimes so that they won't get the big penalties.
Well, the age is now 17 in Massachusetts, right? So
yeah, they want to raise it to 20.
No, the age is 18. It's up to 17. You can be
Up
17.
up to 17
Well,
is
it says from 17 to 20.
from 17 to 20.
The day you turn 18,
you're an adult.
You're treated
you are-
in the criminal justice system, treated as an adult. You still can't buy a drink at the bar.
Well,
I'm
I've
sorry.
always
Sorry, at the bar.
at the bar. I've always had a problem with that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was 18 when they made it 18, and
Yeah.
I didn't have any problems. I learned fast, and I'd stop drinking. I mean, that's it.
But you can go into the military and
Yes, you
be
can.
shipped off and right because we have all these different ages for different things.
That's why they ship the 18-year-olds off to foreign countries because the drinking age is lower over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
right.
Joe, that's
No,
really
that's not.
Oh, that's awful, Joe. That's awful. I was 18. Vietnam was going on. Friends of mine were graduating high school, going off and dying, and they couldn't buy a drink at the bar.
Right, right.
And that was a big argument at the time. It wasn't
Yeah.
the persuading one, but it was a big argument at the time. You never would have got an 18-year-old drinking age if it hadn't been for the Vietnam War.
Right. You're right. All right. So
And now we don't have the Vietnam War anymore. We got Ukraine. We got the rest of these things. Vietnam started off like Ukraine. Oh, we're just going to send some money over there.
All right. And other things going on.
Well,
Read history books, folks. Read history books.
Going back to that point, I'd want to know what kind of supportive rehabilitative services they have
In Mass?
lined up,
Oh.
ready to go for when.
Probably nothing.
Well,
but I don't know.
But that's the whole
Yeah.
point. Like you need wraparound services. You need if you want to rehabilitate people, you need that they need to have access to services.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't have that, then you're really not helping folks. I mean, I'm not in favor of sending people to. I am in favor of decarceration. I always have been. But you need to set up a system.
Ooh, there's a buzzword now, Joe.
Decarceration.
Yeah, I always have been in favor of decarceration. But there needs to be support systems there that are accessible to people that they can, if it's not accessible, then you're not going to help anybody. Just
Okay. For those of you keeping track at home with your scorecard, the Trump trial will start today. The Karen Reed trial will not.
give me a
They are
break.
still trying to get jurors. They have 12 of the 16 jurors for the Karen Reed trial were seated last week.
Volunteer, Joe.
We need the alternates.
Yeah.
Well,
Volunteer.
according to Bob
Get this
Lauder,
thing over with.
according to attorney Bob Lauder, I actually could be on the jury for the Karen Reed case, and I
Yeah.
said, "But we live in the same town." I said, "I don't know her, but we live in the same town. Would that automatically get me off?" And he
no.
said, "No."
No.
He said, "How well do you know the area where the crime took place?" I said, "Well, I know Canton. I've been through it. I've shopped a few places, but where it
You're
took
our
place,
boy.
I
You're
don't
our boy.
I said, "I don't know." You're
Seriously.
on. I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay. There you go."
A reasonable familiarity is all
Yes.
you need.
Okay. I don't know.
And you could serve on the jury without that too.
I don't know where the address is that this took place. So, and I've never been there, so I guess I can be in the
Right.
jury. So, okay.
But if you were a patron of the place and you were a regular and you may have seen,
Yeah.
something, then you'd be disqualified.
Well, I wasn't out on that snowstorm.
Because then you,
Right.
Drinking that night.
Right.
So.
'Cause then you'd be a witness.
That's
Right.
right. That's right. Well, it continues today up there in Dedham, where they're going to try to find 4 alternates for that jury.
Do you think she did it?
I don't have enough information. Initially,
know.
initially it was yes,
Yeah.
but now with what they're saying, and that his bruising and his injuries are not consistent with being hit by a car. Now I'm like, oh, maybe she didn't do it. So now
Upon further reflection.
Yeah, now I'm waiting for the everything, all the facts to come out in the trial to see what goes
Yeah,
on. She looked real
yeah.
guilty right off the bat.
She looked guilty.
It's like,
there you go.
yeah, she did.
She
this.
must have done it.
She
then.
must have done it. But I'm like, oh, things have changed. So now I'm waiting to make a judgment on this one.
Speaking of reading,
Yes, Dave.
a reading week next week in the Woonsocket schools.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been asked once again to read. I'm brushing up.
On your Dr. Seuss.
Oh, they don't read Dr. Seuss.
I don't know what grade.
Oh no,
I don't know what grade
that's
you
too
go to.
controversial.
We're going to do, yeah.
Green
we're
eggs
gonna,
and ham is controversial.
well, it has all those dyes in the green
Yeah,
eggs. and
yes,
stuff.
true.
Or you're eating bad food. So it could be sending
Yeah,
a bad
yeah.
signal that we could
All right.
scar the youth. No, I got a 3 to 5, grade 3 to 5, and
Okay.
I do have a preschool.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you might do
I-
Dr.
2
Seuss,
classes
then.
I'm doing.
Okay. Horton Hears a Who. Is that controversial?
Yeah, but
Everybody's small.
yeah, I don't know. It seems
know
to
I was
me,
being
seems
facetious.
to me
I
that
know, I
other
know.
people will be
But-
taking those books. I go for the guide to the
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
or something like that.
That's you're going to read
I think
to
that's a little over
kindergartens.
a little over the third
Kids.
grader's head. Of course, the big controversy with green eggs and ham is the ham actually green, or is it, or just the eggs green?
I wouldn't eat green eggs.
When,
Ask Mr.
in the
Google.
book, in the book, I always saw the ham was colored green too. So, well, some say no, the ham's the same. It's just the eggs are green.
That's what I thought. I thought just the eggs are green.
Some people say the ham's green too.
Well,
This is a good bar fight, you know.
yeah.
So other things going on, and it makes you wonder with all the TSA, with all the everything that goes on in airports. How does someone get on? How does someone become a stowaway on an airplane? How is it can possibly be done? A Texas man,
Access to the airfield.
a Texas man
Yeah.
who's accused of illegally boarding a Delta Airlines flight at Salt Lake City International Airport last month is facing criminal charges. Authorities say Wycliffe Ives Flurziard used photos he took of other passengers' tickets to board the plane. I wonder how he managed that. Once on board, he allegedly hid in the lavatory, and a flight attendant noticed there was no open seats on the flight where he could be able to sit and realized he didn't have a valid ticket. Plane returned to Salt Lake City. He was then handed over to the police. He's charged with being a stowaway on an aircraft and access device fraud. So it doesn't sound like he went out onto the tarmac.
No, he
Okay.
scanned the ticket. But when you scan your ticket,
It comes up with your name.
it comes up with your name.
so when the
right?
real person comes up,
Right. Then they
Shouldn't
say, "Oh,
they
this
say,
is right. This you've already got.
"You've
You're already on
already
the
gone on"?
plane."
unless they're not just paying attention,
Maybe.
name, keep it moving. There's 200 people got to get on the
Good.
plane.
Oh, thank you.
Keep
You know,
it
when you
moving.
scan your thing, they're like,
That's
"Oh,
gotta
yep,
be a
thank you,
computer
Joe."
malfunction,
And you,
then,
right. Thank you,
because
Dave.
Then when
Yeah.
the person, if you get on with John Doe's credentials, when John Doe comes up to get on the plane,
They shouldn't be able
there's
to
got
let
to be
him
a
on.
barf because they
It
said,
should.
"Oh, you're already on."
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the convention, and I didn't have to get my my badge until the floor opened because I was just going for the floor show. That sounds wrong, but that's not
I
the
know what you meant.
exhibits. The exhibits, Joe. So I went on Sunday. So Sunday morning, I'm getting my credentials, and I'm saying this is me. Okay, fine, and they can't print my badge. Why? Because it's been printed out already. Eventually, of course, this gets escalated after you're now missing some of your time on the floor. But it escalated, and it turned out that 2 other times before me, someone had come in and taken my badge. Once on Friday and once on Saturday. I said, well, that's very interesting. So I was joking to the guy. I says, well, if I bump into me on the floor, I'll be sure to let you know. But he says, well, you know, that's not even your real name. I says, yes, it is. Here, take a look. Social Security card, FBI, the whole thing like that. Because, you know, I got 2 names. I got the one Dad gave me and the one I've been working under since I was 16 years old. And they're both registered with the government as an alias. And so everything's legal. It's a legal name. And yet somebody else took that name, got the badge, and got on the floor twice before me.
Well, it's probably their real name. I mean, it's pretty common.
From the same company?
Oh, well, no, I guess not.
Because it has your company name on there, too.
Did you ever find this person? Did they ever find the person?
No, there's thousands of people on the
right,
there.
right.
But you're right, when on the airport...
They just manipulated another pass for me and got me in.
On the airline, you know, when you show your boarding pass, it beeps.
Yeah.
So when it beeps and it goes green, so if someone else comes up with your boarding pass and you're already on the plane, why doesn't it go red and alert the flight attendants or the gate agent, hey, this person's already on the plane. It's just already automatically beeping green and go ahead. Everybody on.
Yeah.
So I guess the guy in the bathroom was assuming there would be an open seat that he could slip into, but
Or
not
hoping.
on this.
Not
flight.
on this one. Nope.
So just gonna
he
hang
was-
out.
He was caught. Yep.
Yeah.
That's funny when you come out of the lavatory. Well, where's your seat? They're all full. That sends up a flare right there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
nope.
yeah.
Nope.
Well,
can't
Well,
do
the
that.
lights go on when you enter the lavatory, so they know when
know.
there's
It says-
somebody in
And
there.
it says occupied.
If you
Yeah.
close the door,
Yeah.
they know you're in there.
Right.
And if you don't close the door, they see you in there.
Yeah.
Because the doors never close all the
I've been
way.
trying to figure that out too.
But you're allowed if you're like one of the first people on.
Yeah. You can
Southwest,
go. Yeah,
you can use the and there's always a flight attendant at the back of the plane, so they
Yes.
know you've gone in there.
Right.
So I wonder if they.
They're like,
they-
okay,
we
you
know
need- you
we
need to
you
come
to
out
come
because-
out and buckle up
Yeah.
before we take off. Well, now there's no seat for you. Okay, back to the gate.
Is there any room in the overhead compartment? I was surprised to
nope.
find because they were always, it was at Las Vegas when I was coming back. They had the announcements going on. All right, now this is a full flight. So if you've got too much, if you've got a backpack and a purse and a carry-on, you better start combining these things because otherwise we're going to put them in as checked luggage.
Yeah.
And so they said that. You've heard it before. And the first plane I got on in green going out, they said, take your carry-on and flip it on its side to make room for more.
Yeah. That's how they do it.
Right. Okay. All of that. But coming back, I'm noticing it's like there's whole bins that are empty because people aren't even bringing carry-ons onto the plane because of the hassle.
I always bring my carry-on.
Yeah, I think it's more of a hassle to check your luggage.
Yeah. And I know Denise and I, we were traveling together. She was allowed a bag, 2 bags, right? On
Carry-on and a
Southwest?
personal item.
Yeah, that could go under
Yeah.
the seat.
Yeah.
if
So,
necessary.
but I checked 1 bag for the 2 of us.
All right,
And I had a carry-on. She had a purse and a carry-on.
that's okay.
And we used the upper head. There was only 1 carry-on between the 2 of us that was in the upper overhead bin. But we both had stuff underneath the seat in front of us.
That's what you're supposed to do. The problem happens when people bring their stuff and they, instead of like putting it under the seat, they just put it in the overhead bin. Like,
Oh,
don't
is
put your
that it?
coat
Yeah.
and
Oh, the
stuff.
coat,
Like,
the
oh,
jacket
that's,
really bothers me.
that annoys me too. And I'm like, well, now other
And
people can't.
They even announce it. Please, no jackets in the overhead bin until after everything's been full first, and then if there's room, okay.
I'm like, oh, that
Yeah.
person.
We had some turbulent flights going out there. The second leg was very,
Yikes.
very turbulent. In fact, they couldn't do the
No meals,
drink
no
service.
drinks, yeah.
They said
Oh.
sit down, flight attendants.
I have
Yeah,
you
problem
it's
when
bad.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I have problems with the
And
turbulence.
one of the overhead bins opened up on one of the bounces.
Wow.
Yeah, that was cute.
So when
Yikes.
even when I go to St. Louis, Dave, and it's January. I
Yes.
still have a spring jacket with me. And the first thing I do when I get to Green Airport, before I go to even TSA, is take my jacket off and put it in the carry-on.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
And so, and the only time there's a real problem with that is when you're on the jetway.
Jetway, right.
It's freezing cold.
Yeah, it
Of course it is.
And
yeah.
you're standing there because the line's just not moving. And it's like, oh my, that thing is not heated. So, oh my God, is it cold?
That's right.
Can't wait to get on the airplane.
Yeah.
But then I'm nice and comfy when I get on the plane after that. So I don't have to worry about. And I see people come on with the large parkas and stuff, and now they're gonna take it off. And now
What
what
are
do we
you
put
going to
it?
do with it, right?
Well, I
Yeah.
just take it off and I either put it on my lap or like if I get
some
cold,
people
I
always
get
put-
cold on flights, so I'll just like use it as a blankie.
Not only do I not get cold on flights,
I
even
wear
in
my
jet,
Autumn
turn
Fest
the,
fleece.
I turn the air on. I want the air blowing
Yeah.
on me as well.
I wear my Autumn Fest fleece. It breathes so well that you're warm and you're cool all at the same time.
There you go.
good
All right,
meeting.
we've come to the end of the program. Thank you very much for listening. Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for everybody who made it out to the murder mystery dinner at the museum.
All right, and Dave, thanks for stopping by as
Oh,
well.
thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody who came out to the senior fair on Saturday morning.
Very
Yay.
good. My name is Joe Callan. Have a great day. Stay tuned for Leslie Page with At the Library and Foods First with Karen Zangari. It's next. Oh, Tiki Bar tonight at 6.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. Rhode Island Department of Transportation